So I made so many mistakes trading today. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechWood Solutions. And even before we get started with today's video, as you guys can see on my whiteboard, tomorrow on Friday, we're going to be hosting our free live trading session. So I really hope that this is something that you guys are looking forward to and excited about, especially as we've made the transition from trading UGAS and DGAS to now something new. So if you've ever wanted to watch me trade live or just tune on in, you definitely do not have to, and you don't have to do anything special. As long as you're subscribed to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and please set your alarm for market open, because that is when it is that I'm going to be going live. If you're part of our Discord groups, then great. That's going to be the best of both worlds, because that's where I'm going to be sharing the link. But again, don't worry about it. You don't have to join our Discord groups. As long as you're subscribed and you turn on your post notifications, you should get alerted when it is that I go live. And again, if you've ever wanted to see me be challenged by the stock market, especially trading something new, then I would love for you guys to tune on in tomorrow. And if this is something that you guys want us to continue to do, I really hope that this video can get a little bit over 2,000 likes and that we earn your thumbs up. So without further ado, today was a freaking roller coaster. So I don't always feel, especially when I was trading UGAS and DGAS, I don't know if you guys ever have these days, but sometimes like green days come pretty easy, right? Especially when you have your bread and butter, or when you had your bread and butter. So UGAS and DGAS hitting $1,000 on the day didn't come at much of a surprise. Today, to hit my $500 goal, I made $506.77, as you guys can see. I feel like I earned every single penny, and the whole idea is I made so many mistakes, and in this video I want to list them all. I really hope that by listing my mistakes, maybe this is something that you can resonate well with, and again, the only way that we can see consistent improvement is if we actually make progress. First of all, I want to start this video off with giving a huge shout out to Jeff made it very well aware in our Learn Plan Profit Discord chat, a series of mistakes that I made during our live trading session. And I 100% admit that I was too confident. I was buying too aggressive, just because I think, SQs and TQs does not move as aggressive as UGAS and DGAS. So I've been conditioned to trade something a little bit more volatile. So although SQs or TQs were going south when I was personally trading them, it wasn't like I was losing so much money that I was like, out of control. Altogether, I do agree. I made a number of mistakes that I need to learn from, and I want to list them for you. So as you guys could see, right around 6:30, which is when the market opens, /NQ began to sell off. And guess what? I was in TQs, which TQs goes down when the market goes down. So this is /NQ, which if you're not familiar with it, this is the NASDAQ future, right? So TQs, it's a correlating ETF, which follows overall market direction. So as this thing sold off and approached previous lows, one of the things that I unfortunately did is I was managing my risk, and I managed my risk a couple times. So my losses, I kept trying to keep them small, but cutting losses 3 times in a row began to add up, right? So I was down about $500 to about $700 during the Learn Plan Profit live trading session. And although I've been conditioned to take much heavier losses, it still sucks. It still sucks to take red days. And it's with very simple mistakes that I was making today, because I just felt overly confident. And I have to admit, like, I'm human, right? We're bound to make mistakes, especially as we're transitioning to trading something else. And as it approached this previous support level, guess what? I went into SQs, which is the inverse, right? And believe it or not, again, it began to pick right back up. I ended up having to take a small little loss on SQs, and I was just flustered. I was a little upset with myself, because I just felt like the overall market was against me, but that's definitely not the case. I'm irrelevant to the market just like everyone else, and I just had to kind of slow down and pay a little bit more attention. And this is really where I began to make a transition. And I want to now give a shout out to Gina. Gina is also part of our Learn Plan Profit group, and she asked, how is it that I went from a red day being down $700 to transition and actually hitting my daily goal? One of the first things that I want to share with you is a goal is something to work towards, not something that you have to hit every single day. At least for myself, a goal is something that I want to find challenging, that it's something for me to work towards, but not so challenging that I break my principles. I hope that makes sense, right? So as I was down $700, I really began to be a little bit more selective. I knew that I was buying in way too early, right? These reversals that I love to trade, I was buying in way too early, and I was way too confident. On top of that, I had to watch my position size. Although SQs and TQs does not move as aggressively as UGAS and DGAS, that's besides the point, right? I still need to do my part in averaging up and adding to my position size when it makes sense. So what I began to do is, by being able to observe previous resistance levels, as seeing that, it just continued to consolidate on /NQ at that same resistance level right around 10,000, it began to indicate signs of resistance. It began to pull back. I went into SQs. I made a little bit more of my money back. So I was down 700. I made back about 200. So I was down 500 on the day. It aggressively sold off and then began to recover and consolidate. And with those little reversals, I was able to kind of like balance myself out, right? I was back to zero. And then once we saw this nice little rally and it broke above the EMA line, things just began to click for me, right? As I waited for confirmation and as I waited for proper indication of a reversal and watching my position size, not getting, ahead of myself with trading too aggressively, just chasing the dollar value, and really just, again, as day traders, it is our job to stay disciplined and to truly allow an opportunity to present itself. One of the things that I do also have to share with you is when it came down to trading NQ, SQs and TQs, I found the 5-minute chart to be more effective than the 1-minute chart. Feel free to check it out. I'm not too sure if it was Super Snake or if it was McCarthy. But a shout out to you guys as well. You guys said that the 15-minute chart and the 5-minute chart tend to be your favorite as well. And this is just something that you can test out. And we've said this so many times before. There is no perfect time frame for everyone, but every stock and every ETF and every opportunity is different. Every day is different, right? And with different volatility comes different, in a sense, responsibility. And what I began to see is by kind of adjusting myself and looking at the 1-day 5-minute chart, I began to see that direction was a little bit easier to see on that time frame, and indicators were a little bit more relevant. Indicators are never to be used as a sole reason on when to take a trade, but as a reference, right? And when it came down to trading, it was just very easy to see these overall reversals, these high points, these low points. And when we, actually got going and it began to trade above the EMA line, NQ is just so bullish altogether on the 180-day chart. It just kept recovering. And as you guys can see right here, it's only making higher highs. So there were a lot of challenging parts about today. But one of the things that I have to say about Gina to answer her question is, how was I able to have the confidence from going from a red day to a green day? Again, I've been conditioned to take much larger losses and to still be able to trade okay, right? You need to find that kind of like balance for yourself. I'm trading something that's less volatile. So although I did take a loss, my goal is not something that's so aggressive that it's mind-boggling that I have to hit, right? It's something that I've been conditioned that I'm comfortable enough that I know I can hit it. And although I was down $700, all I knew I was in an emotional and mental state where I could focus on independent opportunities, because like we've said before, it doesn't matter the trades that I took, 5 minutes before, yesterday, or the day before. As a day trader, every day trade comes as an independent opportunity and as an independent risk. So instead of trying to revenge trade and just trying to make my money back, which in my experience never works, I really just began to try to be more selective, watch my position size, and stay more patient on the reversals. And it's just because I was able to pick up on the mistakes that I was first making. And that's my biggest takeaway from today. There is no such thing as a perfect trader, right? There is no such thing as a perfect entry or a perfect exit. It is your job to make sure that the opportunities that you choose to take advantage of are something that you personally see value in, the upside outweighs the downside, right? And that the risk, right? However it is that you manage your risk, it's something that you are conditioned to execute on, right? So if you're gonna trade with $10,000 and you wanna cut losses at 1%, then being able to lose that 1% of $10,000 is something that you better be prepared to do if things do begin to go south. Because planning something out is very easily done, right? But actually executing on that plan is, I think, the very simple things that a lot of people begin to overlook. So I wanted to recap on the overall idea of, I was buying reversals way too early. I had to be a little bit more patient, especially trading something a little bit more on the slower side, right? And then when it came down to position size, I was too confident because SQs and TQs wasn't as aggressive. I just was too confident with my position size because it doesn't move as aggressive as natural gas, which shouldn't be a reason on why I take a heavy position size. Heavy position sizes should be made, in my opinion, when the opportunity and the direction is present, right? And a lot of the times during our live trading session, it was not. So again, a lot of positive takeaways from a lot of poor little mistakes that I was making. Looking at different time frames, again, that's something that I wanted to make sure that you guys were well aware of, and admitting to your mistakes. I feel like a couple people were targeting Jeff in our Learn Plan Profit chat because he made it aware of the series of mistakes that I was making during the live trading session. And that's never something that I want, right? The only reason that I am where it is that I am today as a trader, as an entrepreneur, as a YouTuber, as an investor in real estate, is because I learned from my mistakes. And there's nothing wrong with making someone aware of the series of mistakes that they are making, as long as it comes with good intention. And that's what I want to share with you. So you just want to make sure that you surround yourself with people that empower you and uplift you, but also make you aware of the mistakes that you are making. It's not necessarily you have to subjugate others and call them out and make them feel bad for making mistakes. We're all human, we're all wired in different ways, and we're all entitled to our own opinions. But as long as we work on making consistent progress, again, and we learn from it, and I think that's what really matters. So I'm really excited to see what tomorrow has to offer. I don't normally trade the best on Friday, but again, every day presents new challenges, and I'm excited to have you guys tomorrow for our free live trading session. So again, if you guys want to tune on in, I actually think there might be a link down below if you want to save your spot. You do not have to, as long as you turn on your post notifications and you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you should get alerted. All you have to do is make sure that you wake up on time, which will be at market open. So I really hope that we earned your thumbs up. Hopefully this video can break a little bit over 2,000 likes. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.